so much for joining us for another edition of the Bloody Legends with Jai, that Aussie metal guy, and Jim Taylor, brought to you by Crank.com. Make sure you're a bloody legend and hit that like and subscribe. Oh, yeah, g'day, how you all going? It is time for another edition of the Bloody Legends with myself, Jai, that Aussie metal guy, my partner in crime, JB Taylor, Jim Taylor. Today, tonight, wherever you are, we do have special guest Cris Hodges, who is a versatile and dynamic musician whose career has spanned various genres and projects, from his impactful role as the frontman for Grey Daze, stepping into the shoes of the late Chester Bennington, to his innovative solo releases. Cris has constantly pushed the boundaries of his musical expression. His latest venture, Arcade Assembly, sees him collaborating with none other than Nonpoint Elias Soriano, who has guested on this show as well, blending their unique styles to create something truly special. With a career marked by resilience, creativity, and a deep connection to his fans, Cris Hodges continues to leave a mark on the music industry. Cris, thank you so much for joining me, my friend.
Best intro ever, my friend.
Right?
That was epic. I don't even know how we're gonna follow up with that.
You are very, very welcome, Chuck. Billy said the same fucking thing yesterday with the intro, mate. You can't be an interviewer without a bloody damn good intro, man. First off, I want to know about I'm going to jump into Arcade Assembly, man, but I really want to start kind of go back a little bit. And can you share the story of kind of how you became the front man for Grey Daze? Because I love that band, man. Great sound. And what was that experience been like for you?
Great question. So, I live in Los Angeles. I have been a session musician for about 15 years. So, me and all the session musicians out here in LA, we get together, we do certain bands and projects together. And so I get to work with Paramount and Sony and be the voice on some of these movies and everything. And I just put a really good team of studio musicians around me. And in 2017, Chester passed away. And he was always a really big influence on me growing up. And so I went to my session musician friends and I said, what if we did a tribute night to Chester and Linkin Park? And so we went out, we played Viper Room on Hollywood Boulevard, and there was about 100 people that showed up. And then we said we should do it again. 200, 500, 1,000, 5,000 people. So this became a thing that I did, was a Linkin Park tribute band. And I started touring the world in this Linkin Park tribute band. And right around 18 or 9, no, it was either 2019 or 2020, I met Sean Dowdell, the drummer of Grey Daze. I was invited to, off the cuff, last minute, hey, do you want to come to a private listening party for Chester's old band, Grey Daze? They're releasing some music with his vocals, reimagined songs. So this wasn't even supposed to happen, me going to this thing. But I went, I met Sean, we just stayed in touch for a couple of years. And finally I got the call. He said, do you want to come down and rehearse with us? Like keep it on the DL, we don't know. I said, yeah, dude, let's give it a shot and see what happens. I stayed with them for about 4 days. Our first show, we played U-Fest in Phoenix, Arizona for about 15,000 people. And that's how this happened, man.
Wow. So I just want to quickly add on that before you jump in, Jim. So how did you approach honoring Chester's legacy? You know, because you've done an amazing job stepping in there to Grey Daze, and I know he was just about to kick off again with those guys before, sadly, what happened as well. So how did you approach honoring that legacy while also bringing your own style to Grey Daze as well?
That's a really good question, because I had been through this already, being in a tribute to Linkin Park.
Yeah.
And so when you get to a certain point, it's not really big a deal at, if a couple hundred people are showing up. But when you get to the level where thousands of people are showing up, it takes on this whole new meaning. And it's like, oh, this is extremely impactful. This could really have an impact on people's lives. So I really took it seriously with the Linkin Park tribute band. So when Grey Daze came around, it was like riding a bike. I've already done it. I'm all I'm doing is honoring Chester. That's the whole idea of this. I got this. And so, look, there's always going to be that 1%, right? and that 1% of people that don't like it, that hate on you. And I knew it was going to come, it happened to Emily with Linkin Park. And it's just like, cool, but I'm going to focus on the community aspect, honoring the legacy, and making sure that what I'm doing is impactful for the community.
You go, Jim. You...
And it comes to a question where whether like Lincoln Park wouldn't be anything without Chester.
Right.
And it it also it goes to other bands that have a legacy like Pantera, like Alice in Chains, and it's like, well, do we continue and do the best thing we can do in tribute, or do we
Or call it quits, right?
call it quits and then do something else?
Dude, so a very wise friend of mine said something very impactful. He said, "Good music should never die."
Yep.
Right.
That hits. If William Duvall would have never stepped in for Alice in Chains, I
Yeah.
never would have seen Alice in Chains, my favorite all-time band. I never
Yeah.
got to see Alice in Chains with Lane Staley.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
So that fulfilled a hole in my heart that I never thought that I'd be able to see Alice in Chains. And
Right.
William Duvall is amazing. So I have never had a problem with the right singer coming in
Yeah.
and doing the job. I
Yep.
have never had a problem with that. And now that I've done that, I can see I can understand the discourse that I can understand the emotions that it brings up. But honestly, man, like when we got out there, we toured Europe at the April of this year,
Yep.
and I saw some of the like, tears and crying and just I would get down in the crowd and just we everybody would be embracing each other.
Oh,
And it was
that's so
the
cool.
most special moment, dude, because they
Right.
never thought they'd get to see it. And
Right.
that's a beautiful thing when you're a part of it.
Yes. Yes, and that's my point. Do you continue and you try to be the best you can be as a tribute, or do you, hey, let's do something else?
Well, good question. I was able to find my voice. First, Chester and I have the same register, so
Yep.
it wasn't
Yeah.
difficult for me to
I
actually hit
noticed that as well. Listening to
Right.
you on that as well was unreal, man.
Yes, sir. Same.
Yeah. So that was fun, and because I already like I grew up with him in my ears, it wasn't that difficult.
Yeah.
I never went into this to mimic Chester. Even with the Linkin Park tribute band, I'm not going in and mimicking. I have a professional career out here in Los Angeles as a singer,
Indeed.
and so
Yeah.
I wanted to bring me to in the end the Linkin Park tribute, but I also wanted to do that with Grey Daze. Because if you're mimicking, people are gonna get that's inauthentic, and people are gonna catch that.
Indeed.
So I will always bring my own salt and pepper to the situation. But that's one of the reasons also why we didn't record any or we didn't release any new music yet as Grey Daze.
Yep.
We wanted to make our rounds giving honor to the music that was already created. But the next round of music, the 2025 will have new Grey Daze music with my voice on it.
Damn straight. You're quite a.
Hell yes.
I did mention you also have quite a successful solo career as well, which is unreal. It was fun diving into all these different projects you're involved in as well.
Indeed.
But your debut solo album, I believe, was that Black Hole Magic one. Can you tell me all about that, the inspiration behind it and making it?
Yeah, dude. 2020 kind of kicked us all in the ass, right? And
Yes.
so I had never done a solo album. I wanted to, I was working with a few producers and I wanted it to be just a melting pot of genres. Just like what did I grow up with? Okay, so I grew up with Michael Jackson and Korn. How do I how do I put that together? And so I kind of just took my biggest inspirations and I threw them in a bucket and brought in some producers and I was like, what can we do with this? And we came up with Black Hole Magic. And
Oh,
honestly, the solo album is the runway into Arcade Assembly. The
Yes.
solo album is the
okay.
reason why Arcade Assembly exists because it's with the same producer, but now I brought in Elias from Nonpoint, and I'm like, bro, genre free. Let's go.
Yeah,
What can we do?
brilliant. No, it's brilliant, brother. That's so
Thank you.
cool.
So how do you balance the different musical influences in your solo work? You know what I mean? Like you're in all these different acts. How do you balance what you're trying to portray with your solo act compared to with Arcade Assembly or with? I know that your solo act led into what you're doing now with Elias, but how do you
Right.
balance all of what you're going on between the tribute band, the Grey Daze, and then creating your own distinctive sound for the solo stuff you're going?
You know, it's interesting because one of the things that I ended up doing in LA, the first thing I started doing was mimicking singers for movie studios.
Okay.
They wanted specific sounding songs. They'd send us a brief and say, "We need a Foo Fighters song along the lines of this." And so my team would go, "Chris, you got to sound like Foo Fighters." I'm like, "Okay, here we go." So I just sit around listening to Dave Grohl talk and sing and getting his gutturals and then I'd go do it. And so
Yeah.
I became very flexible with my voice because I was doing that for not only rock, but they came to me wanting to do the weekend, like reproduce a weekend style sound with your voice. I did Great Balls of Fire. Shit, who was that guy? Great Balls of Fire.
Jerry Lee Lewis
Uh,
was it? Big
Jerry
Bopper.
yeah,
Lewis.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Jerry Lee
it,
Lewis.
Jerry Lewis. So I had to mimic Jerry Lewis and all these things. And so I became pretty good at mimicking and being able to fall into whatever genre I needed to go into. But to your
Mm.
point, who am I? Who's Cris
Yes.
Hodges? You could get lost. It's like a method actor doing so many things and you forget who the hell you are. So that's a really good question. I have to work with really good producers because good producers will tell me if it sounds like me, am I being authentic to my true self, or am I trying to be something else and work on something else,
Mimic somebody else.
mimic somebody else. So
Right.
I rely on my producers and the people around me to say, that's it. Like that's your lane right there for this song. Stay there.
Yeah, as an artist,
Now,
it would be great having all these different projects, like as the Grey Days and the tribute band and that. But having the project where you can create and express yourself is also another
I
artistic
was going to say,
level
how
of
cool is
feeling as
that?
well. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude, I totally
Like
get it.
be your own voice,
Yeah,
Right. Right.
and be unique to who you are, and
Right.
don't compromise. Now that being said, if they're like, here's what we need, and it's like, cool, now I can do that, no problem. But
Right.
but at the same time, it's like
Well, I mean,
that's
that's
out of
true.
my thing, you know.
That's very true, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do arcade assembly is because I when you do when you have to fall into so many lanes
Mm,
and you don't know who you are, like the solo album was cool, but I don't think that the solo route was going to take me anywhere. I wanted to
yeah,
pull in people with me, um, different producers, another singer. I wanted to pull in people with me because I enjoy the aspect of collaboration in this life. This
yes,
is a
sir.
lot of fun for me. I don't need to stranglehold every piece of, you know, kick drum and
Yes,
bass line and all this stuff. Like
yes, sir.
bring bring your best and let's all put this together how we
Yeah,
envision. You know what I'm saying?
I do,
So
sir.
that's the idea. That was why Arcade Assembly took off, is because Elias and I had that same thing. We have these legacy things that we're doing, and it's
Uh,
awesome, but let's throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks.
yes, yes, and be like, okay, so what are you hearing? Well, I'm a big Ace of Base fan. Cool,
Oh, dude, love Ace of Base, by the way.
dude. Every
Yes.
day for me. Uh, so like you hear Ace of Base, and then it's like, well, let's combine that with Meshuggah.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
that be
and
great?
then but that's where the collaboration and be like, here's what I hear, here's what you hear,
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
just go,
well,
man.
well, keeping on this, tell us a little bit about what inspired that formation between you and Elias Soriano to create
Oh,
Arcade
indeed.
Assembly, and tell me how this kind of all came about, because it probably would have been a no-brainer to work with Elias because he just has an
Of course.
amazing voice.
Dude,
Indeed.
it's insane. We were working on, at this time last year, we were working on a music industry business endeavor together. We're both entrepreneurs as well. And we were working on this project, and that's how I met him. And so I've always been a huge Nonpoint fan back in the Recoil days. Huge, huge, huge.
Oh yeah.
Elias was like my dude, right? And so I'm growing up at 16 years old listening to Elias on my CD player in Dallas, Texas, right? And then all of a
Nice.
sudden I'm working with him in LA, and he's over, he's in Miami, but we began working together on this project. And we just kind of hit it off, dude. Like we were just like,
Nice.
bro, we're like this already. And
Yes.
I said, "All right, bro. I'm a shoot my shot. I've got a few songs that was supposed to be for my solo project. I
Yeah.
don't want to I don't want to do this alone. I want to turn this into a collaboration." I was like, "Here's the song. Tell me what you think. It's got holes in it. I can't figure out some parts." So he takes it, he listens. 30 minutes later, he sends me back the full song. He already recorded his shit.
Yeah.
He was like, "Dude, this is absolutely amazing." And he recorded his stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, is that really?" And we had still had never met in person. Like we just started
Right.
working together on the business and then on music. And so, and then I was like, "Bro, what do you want to do? Like, like, are you down to like, I know you got Nonpoint and I got Grey Daze, but do you want to like create some crazy shit on a
Yes.
regular basis and invite
How
other people,
and how
invite other
cool is that?
producers?" Yeah, invite producers, whatever, different singers to collab with us. And so it just turned into this whole project, man. We're working with
Yeah.
producers in Brazil, working on music for games like League of Legends and all this other stuff. And
Oh,
then like
nice.
and then we're working with producers in the US that's developing like electronic type music. It's just the
Yes, sir.
future of what Arcade Assembly can be. It has no rules and no walls, and that we find interesting.
Yeah, speaking of games, is that kind of part where Arcade Assembly comes from? Because I'm a huge gaming nerd, dude, and I've soundtracks have been big for me. Heavy metal's always been big, but games have been as
Indeed.
well, going from the old Atari 2600 to right up to now the little sound bites and the background have
Yes.
been a huge part for me as well.
Indeed.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the idea was like, we could take it serious and call ourselves like Death Blood 50, or we could have some fun with it and just call it Arcade Assembly, because arcade, you're
Yes.
playing a game. This is a fucking game. And assembly insinuates that it's not just us. It's going to be a bunch of people. And I
Right.
don't know if you guys believe in the whole manifestation stuff, but
Oh,
as soon as we started talking
Second it.
about this, yes, exactly. But as soon as we started talking about it and we put together the name Arcade Assembly, I got hooked up with a producer in Brazil that works for those games. He works
Mm,
for them, and he writes music for these games. And he goes, "Dude, let's write some music as arcade assembly, and I'll put them in these games. I'll get them synced up in these games. And I was like, perfect. Arcade assembly and games? Sure.
Yeah, it goes so bloody well. Can you tell me a bit, coming back to the debut single, Nothing's Real, can you tell me about some of the themes and messages you guys are exploring with this first
Oh,
single?
indeed. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So like I said, that one started out as a song for my solo project. I'll let you guys in on a little something. I haven't told this in an interview yet, but this is what happened to me. I had a business partner. He was involved in my music business, a few other entrepreneurial businesses that I was involved in. He was
Well,
a close personal friend of mine and business partner, and he stole $250,000 from me and disappeared.
oh,
And it
Christ
crushed my
almighty.
businesses. It destroyed my businesses. It destroyed the whole release schedule that I had, the budgets that I had for releases and recording music and marketing. And I'm still in the middle of I found him. He lives in the Netherlands.
Huh.
I found him, and this was a global Ponzi scheme that affected over 40 victims and over $4 million was stolen. And this was
Mm,
a calculated and methodical guy that pulled this off.
okay.
And so he's a con artist, and I fell for it. I thought he was a friend of mine. And so it ruined my businesses and and I got into a place where I was like mentally not okay
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I had just ruined my life and my family's life, and now we're at risk, right? And it was around that time that it got scary where my mind was going. I called a
Yeah.
friend for help, and my friend goes, "Oh, mate, I thought it was going to be something bad." And I was like, "Holy shit. I guess it's only bad if I make it bad in my head." He goes, "It's just money."
Yeah.
He goes, "It's
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
You, you've made money before. You're gonna make more money again." He's
Indeed,
like,
sir.
money's not real.
Right.
You're the life experiences are real, but that money's not real.
Yeah.
And that's where I came up with the concept of nothing's real.
Nothing's real. Man, that
Oh,
so many
I
things
love it. I
to
love it.
unpack in that. What was it like getting over that challenge? And exactly, you're right. Money isn't real, but at that point, you were like, man, this is hard. What am I going to do going forward? But having that message, did it make you think about everything in general, the message you're leaving, the impact you're having on people, besides the financial and the dollar value to it? Like, because I recently
Oh, indeed.
overcome a huge challenge where I was looking at things going, man, money isn't, I know that now, like money isn't everything. Sometimes it's about it's good to feed your family and to be able to pay your
Yeah.
bills and everything. We all need to be able to do that. But also it's about the legacy and the impact and the message we leave behind and being able to
Mm.
have a positive impact on other people's lives, which you have through the music, you know what I mean? And likewise, where we're doing what I was doing, I was able to have conversations with people. And, I realized after, like I've mentioned it a bit, but I do try and raise awareness after my battle with cancer.
Oh, yeah.
I recently went through stage 4 cancer and remission now, but I kind of came to the same conclusion that money isn't fucking everything. Sometimes it's about what you leave behind in this world and the memories and the impact we've had on other people that carry our memory forward. That's the real thing that we leave in this world.
Ja,
Thousand
you couldn't
percent.
have said that any better because when you go through something like cancer, my wife went through stage 2 breast cancer as well. And when you go through something like that, you realize what is important and what's not. And
Yeah.
it makes you it forces you to compartmentalize. Okay, that's gone. I don't really like, we have this amount of time in life. And
Yes.
if I have this amount of time in life, how much of that am I going to spend bitching and complaining about some dude that stole money from
Oh,
me? Right?
oh, God bless you, Chris. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. It's so don't get me wrong. I found him I sued him. I bankrupted him,
Good.
and we're still and he
Jesus.
hid the money somewhere. This is a whole fucking 60 minutes, guys. But like
Ah,
I got to a place where I was like, this is as far as I can take it without driving myself crazy. I got other cool shit to focus on, and so
indeed.
I'm just gonna let the lawyers do their thing, and I'm gonna focus on what's
Yes,
important in
sir.
life.
And expressing yourself
Exactly.
through the music, you know what I mean? Like your music has no
Totally.
doubt impacted people that have changed their life, you know, going through a shitty time and they've played, you know, whether it be
Mhm.
some of your solo stuff, the latest track, or going to see you with Grey Daze, you know, and the impact you've had on
Indeed.
life is worth a hell of a lot more. So, can you tell me a little
I
bit
agree.
about how you see Arcade Assembly evolving in the future? You did mention collaborations, but tell me how you kind of roughly see the evolution and going forward with the band.
So we had this moment where we were putting it together and we were like, man, like what Wu-Tang Clan did? We should be a Wu-Tang Clan. And I was like, bro, I got it. New Tang in you. New Tang Clan. Because we're both coming from the new metal phase. I think this is gonna be like a Black Eyed Peas or a Wu-Tang or an NWA, where you get a bunch of like just really successful and talented musicians, producers, singers, songwriters. And you're gonna write music, you're gonna put it out, you're gonna sync it up to wherever it needs to sync to, movies and TV and games. But we can also take this out live.
Yeah.
And I think we will be in 2025 taking this project out live for the people to see.
Oh, that'd be bloody unreal, man. So, what's the plans with new music? We're going to let this one sit out and start dropping some stuff next year. You're working towards an album. What's the plans? Don't give too much away, but yeah, I know how it goes. But yeah,
Dude, so we're in the middle of writing. We wanted to see how this went, right?
yep,
This thing is going really, really well. And we just went on so we just made it to Octane test drive. So on Thursday we'll be um debuted on Octane. But what's going to happen is we're going to write new music and we're going to continue to write, and it's all intentional. Like what we're doing is just intentional. We're going to pick specific people that we want to write with, pick everyone's strengths, write to them, and put it out and see what happens. And so like I said, we already are writing for the gaming industry, and that's going to be happening. We're going to be releasing that in 2025, early 2025. And I think that everybody can expect some really, really cool music with some really cool people that I can't mention yet,
yeah.
but very cool people. It's all going to happen in 2025.
So, John, I don't want to jump back into the gaming too. How's that been making music for gaming? Because you're obviously a fan like me as well. So, you know, being able to create music for video games would be like a huge like, boost as
Dude,
well.
it's mind blowing. First of all, gaming music is different than writing a radio hit, so
Yep.
to speak. It's
Yep.
a different game. And so I had to, and this is the other part about the collaborative. I had to rely on my music gaming producer to learn and understand conceptually how a song works in the gaming industry. And it's a little bit different. It's different than writing a hit for a radio station. So it's very cool to learn. I enjoy learning different aspects of music writing. So for me, it's a blast. I rely heavily on the strengths of other people, and I hope it's going to be awesome.
It most definitely will. So, look, man, you've played a heap of shows, the Grey Daze. You've done all your solo stuff. Tell me about some of the most rewarding parts of your musical journey so far, and you know the best memories you've made so far on your journey, because you have plenty more to make.
Yeah, yeah. The my favorite part of so it was the tour in Europe with Grey Daze. That's
Okay.
probably been my favorite thing that I have done in my career. And that's because I'll go back to what we were talking about before. For me personally, to see Alice in Chains with William Duvall when I never thought that I would be able to see Alice in Chains, it was a dream come true for me. And then 25 years later, I get to be on the other side of that, where I am the one stepping into the role and I am able to give that as a gift to people. And so when we went to Europe, Grey Daze is very popular in Europe and the UK. And the outpouring of love and acceptance and community that I felt in the UK and in Europe was second to none. It was beautiful. I had an amazing time with everybody and hearing their stories and laughing and crying with them. And so I think that that has been the highlight of my career is stepping into this job and taking it very seriously, knowing that I have to do a good job here. Like I have to nail it because you can't mess something like this up. And then being able to take that hard work overseas and present it to people that have never seen it before. It was beautiful.
And how good is Europe? Like, I know America and Australia, it's like heavy metal and our kind of music kind of sits down here somewhere, but you go over to Europe and it's like mainstream, dude. You actually got people rocking up the shows, buying tickets early, filling up the house. It's unreal.
Yeah, you'll listen. Every musician will probably not tell you this out loud, but we don't want to tour US after touring the UK and Europe. Like we don't want to tour, we don't want to tour the US anymore. Like people adore really good music over there. And I don't know if it's just because we're US artists. I don't think it is. I think they just really appreciate good music and a good story. So, like, dude, if I just toured UK and Europe for the rest of my life, I'd be fine with that, man.
Oh, Europe has such a great scene. Like I see bands here from Australia, like Airborne. They'll go over there. They'll sold out stadiums over there in UK and Europe. They come to Australia, they can barely sell out a pub show in their own bloody country. You know what I mean? They're just appreciated over in Europe. It's fucking crazy.
Bro, you are 1000% correct. I've seen I got a chance to tour with Alter Bridge over here in the US.
Yep.
Pretty good,
They're
you
fucking
know,
amazing.
pretty good. They're doing stadiums in Europe and the UK. You know, they're doing like House of Blues level stuff over here, but they're just crushing in Europe and the UK. And again, I think that's just because I think there's a deeper level of appreciation for music over there than here in the US.
Yes, sir.
There most certainly is. I do want to quickly touch on the latest single as well on your solo stuff, the Unholy one as well, dude. Tell us about that track.
I love that track. I have always loved that track. I put out a hit on my social media one day and I was like, what do y'all want covered? And I got a lot of like, you know, things that I wasn't really into. And then somebody said Unholy. And I was like, I could do Unholy like a electronic rock EDM. I could do this. And I brought in I have a friend, Zach Munowitz, who is the guitarist for Filter. He does a bunch of Filter songs, and he's on the Nothing's Real song as well. So he's my favorite go-to. I had him do Unholy with me so that we could like really metal that thing up and make it sound cool. And so, yeah, man, I guess that is another step toward the collaborative that is Arcade Assembly. Unholy was like, what do y'all want to hear? All right, cool. Zach, come in and let's put this together and put it out and see how people take it. And people liked it.
They most certainly did. I dug the fucking hell out of it, man. I've really been enjoying diving into your solo stuff as well. Support, man. Where's the best place people can get along and support you? I know you're all over on Spotify, but I do like to mention other platforms where people, like if you've got any physicals or albums, or the best place to keep up with what you're going, because Spotify's great. You get all those streams up, but at the end of the day, we all know it's the corporation that's getting rich off the backs of the musicians. So where's the best place people can actually throw down some support?
I appreciate that. The only band that I'm associated with that has vinyl right now is Grey Daze.
Grey Daze, yeah.
So Grey Daze has vinyl. It's got Chester's original vocals. The new music that we're dropping in 2025 is also going to have vinyl. And
Nice.
so it's going to be early 2025. I don't think that the announcement has been made yet that we're actually releasing the music that we recorded, but we're going to do 2 single releases, and then we're gonna press that onto vinyl with a bunch of interviews and talking points on the B side of the vinyl of how this new Grey Daze 2.0 came to be. And it's going to be really cool storytelling on the back, and then the 2 singles on the front.
I love vinyl, man.
So you'll be able,
I love vinyl as
yeah.
well. I started my vinyl collection back through COVID because we couldn't go to any gigs, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm getting a record player. I'm going to start buying some vinyl. I'm going to throw down support this way. You know what I mean? And
Indeed.
there's nothing like it. Listening to bloody vinyl locks you into that album listening process. This the way society is. It's like, click next song. That's the biggest one. But where you chuck on a vinyl, you're locked in, man. I like to put on my headphones, listen to the album. You know, you listen to the first side, you flick it over. You know what I mean? You have this listening experience that is sadly getting lost in this day and age.
So, have you heard Led Zeppelin 2, like the original, on vinyl?
Yeah, my mum had a heap of Led Zeppelin when I was growing up. She was a massive, massive Led Zeppelin fan. She even had the War of the Worlds on vinyl, the original War of the Worlds record. That was unreal, dude.
Right. Dude, I heard it. I had never heard Led Zeppelin on vinyl before. A friend of mine was like, "Dude, this is the original press," and he played me Led Zeppelin 2. We listened from front to back. It was the most beautiful, mind-blowing thing, bro.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Jim, did you want to chuck in anything, mate, before we sign out, my friend?
Oh, I'm good. No, I didn't want to interfere.
No, okay, cool. Look, this has been an absolute bloody pleasure. Chris, do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there, my friend?
Yeah, I would like to shout out to Jim and Jai, that Aussie metal guy, for being cool and hanging out with me tonight. It's tonight for me. And I appreciate you both. This is just a community of music lovers and friends.
We love you, Chris.
I'm happy to be a part of it, guys. And so, thank you so much for inviting me on your show.
We love you, brother.
Absolute bloody pleasure. The feeling is likewise. Everybody go check out Cris Hodges. He does have a whole bunch of solo stuff, which is absolutely amazing. Go check out Grey Daze. Also, the debut single, Nothing's Real, is out now from Arcade Assembly. It does feature, as we mentioned several times, Elias Soriano from Nonpoint. Chuck it in the stereo, crank it up really bloody loud because the neighbors are going to want to hear it too. Cheers, mate.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Love you guys.
Chris.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai, that Aussie metal guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.